Hi there. My name is Tai Tai, the test queen. I'm an English teacher in Taiwan and I specialize in TOEFL, IELTS, TOEIC, conversation, writing, all the things. I've been teaching in Taiwan for almost 20 years now, and I'm making this channel to help people, to help students improve their English and to do better in their tests. So the first video I'm doing today, my first video on my channel, like and subscribe, please, is what is the difference between TOEFL and IELTS? I get this question so many times. Students will come to me and they'll be like, I want to do TOEFL because I heard it's easier, it's multiple choice, or I want to do IELTS because I can speak to a person. That's not always the case. You need to know what you want and the university or college you want to go to, what they need, of course. So IELTS is usually, it's a British-based test and it's accepted all over the UK, it's accepted in Australia, it's accepted to some universities in the US as well. While TOEFL is accepted in the US, some universities in the UK, some universities in Australia. So it depends where you want to go. Check the requirements of the university you want to go to and make sure you do the correct test. You don't want to study and then pay. These tests are expensive, Henny. It's coin. I mean, it's not cheap. So just do the test once. And if you are a regular to my channel, that's my goal. I want you to do these tests once because they're too expensive to do twice. Or 3 times at least. Maybe twice for some people. But anyway, the tests, IELTS is British-based, TOEFL is American-based, and they're quite different. I don't know which one is easier. We'll go through this. I'm going to go through the steps. I've got a trusty blackboard there, but it's not for today. So today you just need to listen. TOEFL, it's marked out of 120 score, and we have a reading section, a listening section, a speaking section, and a writing section. IELTS, you get a band score of 0 to 9, and there's also a reading section, a listening section, a writing section, and a speaking section. Let's start with this speaking section. I feel TOEFL is the speaking section is so different from the IELTS speaking section, or the IELTS is different from the TOEFL section. You get the idea. They're both different from each other. So the first difference is IELTS is face-to-face with a human examiner, an examinator. No, an examiner, face-to-face. Some countries have the online IELTS version and some countries offer an online face-to-face video test with your IELTS examiner. I know the center in Kaohsiung does that. If you do the IELTS online version, you will go to the center, everyone will do the test at the same time. It will all be online, not paper-based. And then you will go to a room, you'll get a computer, and you will do a one-on-one class. Like since a few years ago, we've all become accustomed to online classes. So that is very convenient. But some test centers still have the examiner face-to-face. You will sit down. It'll be like an interview. They will ask you questions. Stay tuned for the next video because that will be about the IELTS speaking section. But anyway, we'll get to that at a later stage. We're just talking about the differences today. So this one is one-on-one. If you're scared of speaking to people, if you get nervous when you walk into a room and there's someone who might not be that friendly, I would suggest maybe do TOEFL, but that's for the speaking section. TOEFL speaking section consists of 4 parts. And the first part is an independent question. They will ask you something and you have to basically prepare a monologue and you have to speak. The second part, you will listen to a conversation, you will read a letter, it's integrated, and you have to tell me or tell the computer, because you're speaking, right, sorry, TOEFL, backtrack. TOEFL, you're speaking into a computer, right? You're sitting on your computer, you're speaking with headphones, microphone, the whole thing, like this. Ooh. Oh, like this. You're speaking into a computer. So when you're speaking to the computer, it's not very personal. For some people, it's very easy speaking into a computer. It's like recording your voice. So TOEFL is like that. You will sit there. Second one is integrated. Third one, integrated. Fourth one, integrated. So there are 4 sections in TOEFL. You need to record all 4. In IELTS, there are 3 sections. and they're all face-to-face. We'll get to that in a later video. So like and subscribe. Have I said not before? Yes. Okay, so let's go to the reading section. The reading section for TOEFL is quite boring. Quite boring. It's not that interesting, but I've done it so many times. I've done the reading section with students. I've done it in classes, and I've never, ever, I shouldn't say this, but I've never, ever read the whole section. Ever. Ever. You don't read it. It's too boring. I can't focus. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't want to know about these science things or whatever. I don't want to read it. So I will make a video about reading, like how to teach you TOEFL reading, all the tips and tricks, so you can basically do the TOEFL reading test without reading the TOEFL reading test. Of course, you have to read something. It's still reading test, but you don't have to read everything, and I will teach you that in a later video. But there are 3 to 4 passages, and sometimes, if you're unlucky, 5 to 6 passages, because passages, did I say passengers? Passages. Because sometimes TOEFL will test new test material and they will add it into a test. And then when they add it into a test, it does not count. So you will do it and they will, it's like a trial for them. So you have to do it. You have no idea if it's going to be you, if it's going to be the person next to you. You still have to do them. So yeah, the TOEFL test can be longer. The same with listening. Listening, TOEFL can also give you extra questions. For IELTS, you will have 3 passages, 40 questions, and you have to read and fill in the answer. Like sometimes you have to write, sometimes you have to choose. IELTS is more writing than TOEFL, by the way. But anyway, so IELTS can sometimes be tricky. I feel there are some questions where they want to get you to make a mistake. So once you make a mistake, you can get a 9, right? While in TOEFL, if you do it very carefully and do it with strategy and like the way I will teach you, perfect, like this. I'm a bald queen, by the way. I might wear a wig or 2 sometimes, but not that often. Okay, back to the reading. The short, the gist of it, TOEFL, boring, long. You have to read quite fast, otherwise you might not finish. IELTS, you might have a bit more time. I feel I can finish it on time with sometimes extra time to go back and review, while some of my students do not have extra time. They often tell me, I've heard this so many times before, like, I didn't have time to finish the reading section, so I just guessed. Or I couldn't even guess, I didn't have time to finish, and I couldn't even guess because it wasn't multiple choice. So yeah, be careful, read carefully, don't spend too much time, TOEFL or IELTS, in any section. Spend the time you're allowed to. Okay, let's go to listening. TOEFL, if you can take really good notes, listening will be easier than IELTS listening. And I'm saying that now. If you can take good notes, do TOEFL. If you're worried about the listening part, that is. There are 3 to 4 lectures and 2 to 3 conversations, and you will listen to them, and you have to answer questions about them, right? So you will listen to them first, and then they will give you the choices. Then you have to fill in your answer, A, B, C, D. And there are different kinds of questions, which I will teach you at a later date. But you will listen to them, and you will just answer them. You can't go back. Once you've entered that number, it's done. It's gone forever. Just move on. Forget about it and continue. So that is TOEFL listening. IELTS listening is a little bit different. I feel IELTS listening is more difficult because in IELTS listening, you do need to write down some stuff. You do need to write down words. If your spelling is terrible, I know with like a lot of software these days, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to name them, but anyway, a lot of software that corrects our grammar and writing and spelling as we go, right? So a lot of those things, they make us lazy. We rely on these things. Like even myself, I write a lot of articles, and when I make a spelling mistake, I don't care. I just continue and it will be done, fixed for me. So yes, that's the thing. Be sure you can spell. If you do IELTS, spell, because you have to write down words. You have to fill in some answers. There are multiple choice questions, but not like TOEFL, which is just multiple choice. Okay, so that's listening. Writing, both of them have two parts. Excuse me, what was that sniff? Anyway, writing, both of them have two parts, and they're quite similar, especially the second one. But the first essay you have to write in TOEFL is an integrated essay. You have to read a passage, then you have to listen to a lecturer talking about the passage, and usually proving or disproving, agreeing or disagreeing with that, and you have to write about it. IELTS, the first one, you get a table or a graph and you have to analyze it and discuss it using words on paper. So that's quite difficult. It's a numbers game. If you're good at analyzing tables and graphs and things like that, IELTS is for you. Like if you've got that mathematical mind and like, oh, I can see this graph. I know these numbers go up, these go down, this happened, then IELTS is easy for you. But anyway, IELTS task 1 is not that easy because you have to analyze, you have to write numbers, and you have to use a lot of different sentences and sentence types. Well, TOEFL is a little bit easier. The second task is independent in both. So you have to discuss something. They'll give you a question and you have to discuss it. Second one is usually more. You have to write more words. You have to discuss more things. And it's basically straightforward writing. Just make sure you give yourself enough time in both of these tests to go back and edit your writing, because you have to go back. One thing I will say, if you do the IELTS test and you do the paper-based test, make sure to write clearly, because sometimes we're writing with pencil, pen. We write quickly and we don't write that neatly. They can read them and they can give you a good score, while TOEFL is all typing. So I would suggest, if you do the IELTS, do the computer-based test. Typing is generally faster, so it's a little bit better. Okay, so in a nutshell, let's go back and just quick review. If I had to choose which test I would do, I would choose TOEFL. I think IELTS is amazing with reading, listening, and speaking, but the writing part 1 is just, I do not like graphs and tables. It makes my head bored. I look at it and I'm like, no. It gives me the dramatic headache. Oh, no, I can't do it. But the speaking is so much better. So let's break it down. Writing part, TOEFL's easier. Speaking part, IELTS is easier. Reading part, I think TOEFL's easier, but a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people think IELTS is easier. Listening part, I think TOEFL's easier as well, because if you can take really good notes, which is something you can learn, then you can do TOEFL. So that is it for today. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you like it. If you have any questions or ideas or things you want me to discuss in the future, I will write them in the comments. I will read the comments, make the comments positive, nothing negative. I will not read negative comments. So commentators, be positive. I will read the comments and then I will base future content on things that you like. I have a whole list of videos that I'm going to film. Some of them will be in the same makeup because it takes me 3 to 4 hours to do the makeup. And then tell me what you want. I will read your comments and help you on your journey to study abroad, because that's ultimately why we're here, right? To study abroad or to live abroad. If there's anything I forgot in this video, please ask me. Ask me questions. You can ask me. You can contact me on social media. My Instagram is Shady Bearded Lady. You can contact me there. You can contact me here. Whatever you want. And let me know if you liked the video. Just thumbs up this video, like, subscribe, and click the notification icon so you will get notifications whenever I have a new video for you. So that is it for me. My name is Tai Tai the Test Queen, and remember, little heart, little frames. I will see you next time. Mwah.